guys, and welcome back to my KX Corner. This is week 4 in my mom's cozy Christmas quilt along with Stitch Obsessed. If you would like to check out the pattern, you can get it from Stitch Obsessed, and she also has in-depth tutorials there as well. So what we're going to work on now is getting all of the vertical sashing on between each of our blocks, and then the next step then will be to determine the row placing and then get that horizontal sashing in place. And then the quilt top will be done. We'll just need to add the border, and then we'll be able to sandwich it. So we will start working on the sashing. I'm going to add a sashing to the right side of every single block, and then we're going to come back and add a sashing to 5 of the blocks on the left side, so on the left side for you. So I know that I have 25 blocks. I have 5 different designs, so I have 5 designs, and I want them so that they're not next to, on top of, diagonally touching another block of the same design. And so I am very methodical about how I'm going to put this together. So this is usually when I would lay all my quilt blocks out on the floor and just kind of take a step back and look at it and visualize where I want all those pieces when I'm talking about random different fabrics. And so then I'll take a picture of it, and that really kind of helps things pop if I've got some that are too close together or maybe too far apart. And even just taking that photo and turning it black and white can really kind of help your eye see something. But because, like I said, I'm going to be very methodical about where I'm placing all the blocks on this particular quilt, I don't need to actually lay them out and get a visual. So once I get every block to have a sashing on the right hand side, then I will go and I will pick one of each design. So there'll be 5 blocks that I will also put one down the left hand side, because those will be the rows going down the left. And I know, because the way I'm setting everything out, that it is one of each pattern will be in that left column. So we will get working on that now. Played bobbin chicken, and I won. Okay guys, I played bobbin chicken tonight and I won, and then I also played camera chicken tonight and I won, because I was so close to being done before my camera died. So here we are. I have all of the rows put together, and so this is where I'm going to stop for the night. But I'm going to come back probably tomorrow and then stitch those rows together. But before I do that, I need to iron all the seams out so those are nice and flat, and then I'll stitch those rows together. But I wanted to take a minute, and I was getting so frustrated. You may have noticed that I was constantly having to rethread my needle between those blocks. And so here's my 2 cents. I will never buy thread from Missouri Star Quilt Company again. It comes, here I'll show you. It comes on a spool like this. My machine actually my thread sits sideways, and then there's a little piece that goes on the end here. So the thread actually comes off like this, and there are little notches on the edge here, like the seam when this little plastic spool was molded, that it will catch when it's coming off this, and then it causes tension in my thread. The other thing is, so I've filed that down. I've had to file it down. So the other thing is, regardless of the notch, even when it gets this low, and I'll show you, the one on my machine isn't even quite this low, it still is catching, and so it's breaking the thread and just wreaking havoc. And so I will not buy this thread again. If you have a machine that pulls upright like this, you're probably fine. But I don't want to have to buy, like my Janome will pull up like this, but I don't want to have to buy different threads for different machines. I just want just the same thread and just keep it simple, right? So I'm gonna bring the camera over here. Watch this thread. Hopefully you can see how it just gets stuck. See how it skipped there? There, it made that whole thread jump. It's doing it again. It's stuck right there. It won't go any further. So I personally will never buy this thread again. But unfortunately I did buy a whole bunch of it when it was on sale, so I'll use it up, but just really frustrating, so I don't recommend this thread. But that's, like I said, this is where I'm stopping tonight. I will get all of the seams ironed flat tomorrow, and then we'll stitch those rows together. And we're so close to being done with this quilt, guys, so we'll talk to you soon. Okay guys, so we are ready to put on the horizontal sashing between each row of blocks. And so I don't actually cut my sashing to the width of the rows. I make one long strip of sashing, and I will just, and this is actually just a lint roller. I get them usually when I go to IKEA. They have them cheap, and so I've got a whole slew of these around the house, so this works well. So I will just take this and run it across, sew it across the rows, and then trim it at the end. I do that for a couple of reasons. One, it's kind of like laziness, I guess, because I don't want to measure it and cut it and everything. But the other thing too is, like, what I'm working with here is 62 inches wide, so if my yardage is 42 inches wide, then I'm going to have a 42 inch piece spliced with a 20 inch piece every row, and so I'm going to have that splice, that seam down every row, and I would rather it just look more random and organic, I guess. So maybe sometime, maybe my next quilt, I'll do a video on how I actually put this together. But that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put these pieces of sashing between each row of blocks, and then the next step will be to cut and sew on the border, which I will do the same exact way. It'll be I think I'm going to do 2.5 strips, 2.5 inch strips for that as well. And so I'll just do the same exact thing. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to know how much do I need total, and just go with it. So I will meet you at my machine. Right, we have all the blocks put together. Look at that, guys. Isn't that awesome? I'm so excited. Okay, so next step is I'm going to cut the border. So I'm just going to do the same exact thing that I did with this sashing. It's just going to be 2.5 inch strips, and I'm going to go, I'll go up both sides and then across the top. So I'll get those cut, and then I will meet you back at my machine. Alright guys, we have the quilt top done. Yay! Isn't that cute? Okay, so I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think I mentioned earlier when I started this project that I went to go get the Christmas fabric, and the only thing I found was 4 bolts of Grinch fabric. So I had this fabric in my stash, and except for like the background and border, but like the wrapping paper, Christmassy fabrics I had in my stash, honestly, because I was working on another project for ugly Christmas sweater. So these are not typical Christmas fabric that I personally would choose, and not that they're ugly, but they're just not my usual color palette. So anyways, but all that to say, I think it still turned out super cute. So this is the end of week 4, and there is going to be quite a bit of a pause before I do the last video for this series. So I have another quilt on my frame right now, my long arm, and if you've been watching all of my other videos, you'll know that I have an airplane quilt that I was working on for my grandson for his birthday, and the machine that I had on my long arm, I sent it in to be serviced, got that back, and thought, well, maybe I'll have it done in time for Christmas. But then just, you know, holidays. Okay, sorry about that. My battery on my camera died. I did not win Camera Chicken that time. So anyways, what was I saying? So I have that airplane quilt on my long arm frame, and just with the holidays, then I had a work conference, and then I was sick and everything else, that project kind of got pushed to the side. And so now that I have this quilt top done, I'm going to focus on getting that airplane quilt finished. So then once that's done, I will get this Cozy Christmas quilt up on the frame. So that's my plan. However, amongst all that, my husband and I are going on a trip. Our birthdays are in a few weeks, and he said he wanted to go someplace warm for his birthday. So we are doing a cruise. And my travel quilt that I have started, so if you're following me along with me, like there's a travel quilt that I started that is something that is going to be hand stitched only, the whole thing, just because I don't really want to take my sewing machine with me, especially when I fly places. So I wasn't going to take that with me, but then I discovered that there are some little like sessions where you can go and hang out with other people and bring your projects and stuff. And this, so I think there's 2 different kinds of vacations, right? There's the kind of vacation where you go and you unplug, and maybe you sit by the pool or you read a book or whatever, and you just relax. And then there's the kind of vacation where you just go and you do, right? So like Disney, for example, is like where you gotta come home and take a vacation from your vacation. And so I feel like that's the type of vacation that we're gonna have on this cruise. Like there's so much to do on this cruise that I feel like I'm going to come home and I'm going to want a vacation from my vacation. So I wasn't going to take my travel quilt with me, but like I said, there's some sessions that I can maybe meet up with some other people, so I thought, well, maybe I'll take it. So anyways, all that to say, amongst everything else with getting the airplane quilt done before I finish quilting this one, I am going to be taking some time to go on that cruise. So it might be 2, maybe 3 weeks before I post another video. So just know that I'm not dead in a ditch somewhere, right? So anyways, but that's where we're gonna finish for this week and for now, and we will get this quilt done before Christmas of 2026, right? So all right. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to know when I post the next video for this, or even the next video for my airplane quilt. And we will catch you next time. Have a blessed week, guys. Okay guys, I played chicken bobbin tonight and I won, and I played camera bobbin tonight, or I'm sorry. Guys, I played chicken bobbin tonight and I won. Bobbin chicken, chicken bobbin. I played chicken bobbin